different and a little bit for fun, not completely without biblical basis. But thought I'd give you a break from the geography study. And even though that's been a real blessing to me, it can get a little boring for some folks. They don't care where this place is or that place is. So what I call this Sunday is Sci-Fi Sunday School. And reason being is something caught my attention, and I started looking into it. And the more I looked into it, the more I was intrigued by it. And then I said, well, now, I went for something in the Bible. And then I realized that the Bible had a lot to say about this one particular thing we're going to be talking about. I've turned to Genesis chapter 11, and let's start there. Now, I was wondering whether I was even going to be able to bring this to you this morning. Thursday, I was really sick and out of it. Friday, I did a little bit better, but it wasn't really until Saturday that I kind of worked through this and got some of this stuff put down on paper. I had some ideas. So if it's a little mixed up, it's because I was a little mixed up in my head. But Genesis chapter 11, let's read from verse 1 to 9. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Now this is the area where the Garden of Eden was. The area where Babylon is, where Ur of the Chaldees is, where Abraham is from, that's where the garden was located. And they said one to another, let us let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, when the children of men builded, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them. Notice, which they have imagined to do. God seemed pretty confident that man, once he put his mind to it, could fulfill the imaginations of their heart. And I'm telling you, they're getting there. They're getting there, if they haven't already arrived in some point. But you say, have they reached up into heaven? I think they're about to. Verse 7, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So God stopped them once before, and I don't know, we seem to think that people back then were cavemen. Anybody believe in cavemen? I believe there's some folks that were base enough that they had to live in caves, okay? But we're talking folks here that probably the combined intelligence of these people, they could have literally accomplished anything given enough time. And they had longevity. They're still living 200 or 300 years right after the flood. The other thing is that we're seeing a repeat of this kind of situation. The one language today is, do we have one language today? Yes, we do. It's binary. Think about it. Doesn't matter what language you're working in, you can translate that through a computer, through binary. You can translate that language and read it. So really the whole world can't get together. All the space programs around the world, except for maybe ones that are enemies like North Korea, they're all linked. They're all linked together and they're all working together. The whole earth is working on reaching up into heaven again. It's obvious, right? All these new programs like it was Gemini, and then it was, what's the name of the other one? Artemis. Now when we say binary, that's is expressed in the base 2 numeral system, a method of mathematical expression which uses only 2 symbols, 0 and 1. Pretty base language, you know. But it does work. cities and towers is what modern man is all about. It's all about building edifices and towers, and I mean, that's what modern man's all about. The things that, I was born in 1960. Somebody here born before that. In 1960, we used rotary phones. Now, I wasn't the kind that did that kind of rotary, but you had to, some people, kids today can't even operate a rotary phone. You hand it to them like, what is that? They barely look at a push-button phone and they go, oh, that's old. I mean, when push-button phones came into play when I was growing up, man, we thought that was, major leap in technology. There was no such thing as a cell phone. There was no such thing as internet. You had an antenna. There was no such thing as cable or satellite. It just didn't exist. And the things that we saw on Star Trek, you actually have today. That little flip thing they flip up, Scotty, or whatever, beam me up. There's no intelligent life down here. Okay, that little flip thing became a flip phone today. That was unheard of. We never knew of anything like that. The first mobile phone you ever seen, man, looked like it was like a huge walkie-talkie. They were ugly looking, and the people that walked around and talked on them looked about as goofy as you can imagine. I mean, they got this big, huge phone. Now, if you did that, it's hilarious, man. People bust out laughing, Of course, you notice our phones keep getting bigger and bigger. Pretty soon, I see people slapping a iPad, up against their face to talk on. So, the one thing I just want you to get from that passage is God was confident that with time, man could work it out. Work out what? Getting into heaven. And they've done it through the space program, but I think it's gone far beyond that. And so this is where I'm going to put a disclaimer that what I'm about to say I can't prove, okay? I'm not saying it's true. What I'm saying is that the Bible is replete with this kind of thing. And man may have stumbled on it. He may have had some help. So, where this begins is on May the 8th, 2014, and it has to do with the Malaysian Flight 370. The journalist that exposed this don't know whether it's true. He doesn't even know whether it's completely true or not. He said from the information he's gathered, it's almost inconceivable that somebody hoaxed this. His name is Ashton Forbes. If you go on YouTube, look up Ashton Forbes, you'll get all the videos on it. There are hours of it. We're going to play a video at the end that's about 15 minutes where he interviewed with Glenn Beck. Other than that, we're not going to go into all that. It's just a real basic to show you what it's about. You can go and look at it yourself. All right, what happened? Well, there was a flight from Malaysia to Beijing Airport on the mainland of China. On board were 20 scientists or employees of a microtechnology industry or business called Freescale Semiconductors. And what is thought was that they were the target. And the reason they were the target is because, what China can't buy, they steal. You understand that. They steal everything from us that they can. And there was some technology that they wanted to get a hold of. And it looks like the United States, and this is just speculation on my part, the United States used it on them first and targeted them. Because evidently these 20 men, there were 12 Malaysians and 8 Chinese, probably the best in their field. This technology is 50 to 100 years advanced in the future. It's the private sector, the private weapons sector that would have this type of technology. And we know what happened to that flight. It disappeared. It disappeared from radar and never heard from again. Although they say they found some debris, I don't know whether that's true or not. that belongs to Flight 370. The main wreckage has never been located. 72 days after it disappeared, a video emerged. 2 weeks after that, another video emerged. Now, there's another source that says that one of those videos showed up 4 days after. 4 days after. One video was from drone coverage. A drone actually filmed it. They know the kind of drone. They know the camera that was on the drone. Everything. They can forensically tell you everything about what filmed what happened to Flight 370. So this video shows up, and the two videos, one is satellite, one is drone. And the thing that kind of stands out about it is there's not even the slightest difference between those two videos. They're in lock. In other words, whatever they're looking at, from whatever angle they're looking at, when you put the two together, you cannot find one single solitary discrepancy. There's no copy on these. They were just, I don't understand a lot about it, but the fellow those that have examined it, you know, I'll show you one guy that faked it in an hour and a half, but he couldn't fake all the other stuff that they talked about 25 different things that was on that video they couldn't fake, and you can find all that online. All right. This video that was released, it's believed that Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn, if you look him up, who held a security clearance of above top secret, was sentenced to 6 years in prison for disclosing classified information. He should just about be getting out, or he's already out of prison. I kind of regrets what he did, but they won't link him to this. They won't link him to anything. They're not telling you what he was guilty of. They just sentenced him to 6 years. You have no idea what he did. And he is connected with programs that would be looking. Something with the signal corps, I don't know. This stuff's over my head. Maybe you might understand it. So, what it showed in these videos is it showed Flight 390 being teleported. It literally disappears and is teleported, gone. It shows 3 orbs. One orb comes up and engages the plane and begins to go around. 2 more orbs come up, and those 3 orbs start a cycle around that plane. Almost like, not only are they sizing it up, but I don't know, they're generating a magnetic field around that thing. And you watch these orbs. Now we're talking about 2 different advantages. One from space, from a satellite, and one from a drone that's watching it. And it just goes around this thing. And there's supposed to be a 4th one, and I'm not sure what the 4th one does, but something about kind of providing the energy or something to open up something. And while you're watching it, it gets to one point where they're just, you can see they're spinning pretty fast, and they're gone. It's gone. It's gone. Now what they're saying is that it opened up a wormhole, or tore the fabric of space and time, and allowed that plane to go through. Now you say, well, it could have gone through to another place. I have no idea. I don't know where it went. And maybe they don't either. I don't know. But the plane vanishes. The fact that it was set up to where you have a drone filming it from one advantage and a satellite picking up, that it was not alien. Let's put it this way. It may have been alien technology, but it wasn't aliens that did that. Somebody understood exactly what was going on and took note of it. And there's a reason they wanted to send, according to these folks, wanted to send a signal to China and Russia. Okay, don't mess with us. We got something you'll never have, or you haven't got yet, and we've got dominance. And they weren't going to let these 20 guys that were on that plane look into that technology and possibly steal it. Believe it or not, Nikola Tesla, if I'm pronouncing that right, 1856 to 1943, he had these crazy advanced ideas about free energy, all kinds of things that people today are realizing that he was onto something. There's another guy, and I can't think of his name right now, Lieutenant Colonel Bearden is his name. And he speaks about some of these things. Evidently, there's a lot of understanding of this, this type of thing, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, that type of thing. By the way, Tesla was an electrical and a mechanical engineer. I mean, he gave us AC power, you know. But he understood some things. We don't even, electricity is still an energy. We don't know what it is. We know how to harness it. We know how to send it across waves. We know how to do all kinds of things with it. But we really don't understand what it is exactly. Man doesn't know the basics of anything. Like I said, he can always be finding out things, but he can never find out a source. And the fact that Tesla died in 1943, well, oddly in 1943, you have the supposed Philadelphia experiment, where advanced stealth technology was being tested. In other words, they're going to cause the ship, the USS Eldridge, to disappear and then reappear. Well, it not only disappeared, this is according to, it not only disappeared, but it showed up someplace else when it reappeared. And when it reappeared, the rumors are that the seamen that were on board, some of them rematerialized part of the bulkhead or the floor or whatever. I mean, it was horrific what happened in that experiment. Now, of course, you know, the government completely and totally denies that, but isn't that interesting? Right about that time, we got the atomic bomb. See, we got this advancement in science and technology that was just, it was at lightning speed that we were gaining this technology. And so to be fair, like I said, I can't prove none of this. But to be fair, one man produced a fake video in 90 minutes. This guy said it couldn't be fake, so he took the challenge and he started just going through, you know. And supposedly another group debunked it. I'll leave that up to you. But he couldn't explain how weather conditions, plane turning radius, and about 25 other details were perfect for that area, time, and exact plane specs and appearance. Even the way that plane would look was perfect. Another source says that at least one video source may have been out only 4 days after it disappeared, which they knew where, I mean, this is where the plane was actually seen in the area by a woman that visually saw the plane. I don't even think 4 days after they even realized exactly the route that it took. I don't think that was figured out for a little bit longer. But anyway, supposedly this thing was out after 4 days, but for sure it's out 72 days later. 2 weeks later, both videos are out. Now, what I'm thinking is that this is the same thing that what's his name? Tower of Babel. Nimrod. This is the same thing that Nimrod was after in the Tower of Babel. And that is a reach unto heaven. I think the men of that day realized something, may have visually seen something. I know that Adam and Eve in the garden would have visibly been able to see these kind of things take place. What I'm saying is that what man's been trying to figure out for 2,000 years is commonplace in the Bible. I'm going to show you incident after incident after incident after incident of teleportation. Now, how you want to phrase it, it's all up to you. But they're getting from point A to point B, and they're not doing it through car, plane, automobile, feet. I mean, they're just, and not just people, but things and climate and everything else. And exactly how does that work? Well, I think man might be has stumbled on, or I think that there might be some angelic alien type thing going on that has shared this technology. Anyway, let's look at some teleportation. And this is quantum physics. It's the study of matter and energy at its most fundamental level. It's dealing with the building blocks. It's dealing with the fabric which is a very interesting word that they use. The fabric of our universe. So, first place, let's look at is the appearance of angels in the Garden of Eden. In 2 Corinthians 11:14, it says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. And the reason we think behind that was that angels were commonplace for Adam and Eve to see. So he transformed himself as an angel of light. Oh, it's just another angel. Why is he sitting up in that tree? Who knows? Let's go talk to him and find out. Or maybe Eve thought that. Of course, he was trying to be subtle. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. So he appeared as an angel of light. We have another picture of this when it says Jacob, when Jacob had a dream in Genesis 28:12, he dreamed of a ladder. He says, and he dreamed, behold, a ladder set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. Now, I know it was a dream, but it's also picturing something that is inspired of God in the millennium, when these angels are going to be coming down, up and down, ministering to Jesus Christ, ministering to the saints in the millennium. Yes, it's in there for a reason. It wasn't from, pizza and pickles that he ate, In Genesis 6, you have the sons of God that come down. It says, Jude 1:6 says, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved an everlasting change under darkness until the judgment of the great day. Okay, here's the thing. The more they look out into the heavens, the more the stronger the telescope, the more vast it becomes. The guess is right now with what's observable is that the universe is 93 million light years across. 93 million across. Let's say we're in the middle, up or down or across, whatever, 93 million. Let's just say we're in the middle. These angels that are coming from the third heaven, which we understand, would have to travel 46 million light years to get here. Now, 1 light year is approximately 6 trillion miles. It's 5.88 trillion miles. 1 light year. It would take them 46 million light years if they're traveling at the speed of light. I don't think they need to even do that. I don't think they need to travel at any kind of speed. I think all they need to do is step through a door. And I believe that's what they had. I believe they had a portal. I believe they had a window. I believe they had a method of going through time and space because they're able to manipulate that fabric. Now, God enabled them to do that. So why did Nimrod think that if he built a skyscraper, he could ascend into heaven? I mean, why building a tall building? I mean, when you're standing on a tall building, I mean, you may feel a little bit closer to heaven, but, not by much if you have any understanding of how high things are. What was he trying to reach? Because it says he was trying to reach up into heaven. God is up, but may have been the portal. And if some of this sounds like heresy, Gene Kim's responsible, just so everybody knows. Because I was listening to some of what he had to say a while back, and that there may have been a portal, a window, a door above our heads. Because he talks about these angels descending and ascending on like a ladder. This is the sci-fi of our day being beamed up. Something like that. He couldn't build a tower any higher than what they could build now. So where would it have got him? It didn't make sense. But God's concerned that he can fulfill the imagination of his mind and of his heart to get up into heaven. So there must have been something there, or at least it appears there might be something there, like a wormhole, a window, or something. Look in John chapter 10. And this all of a sudden, what's said there is like, oh man. pardon my voice. Jesus says this, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door, now he's talking about a door into heaven here, a door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. NASA, thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. In other words, Jesus Christ is going to bring his sheep through the door. He can open the door, he can shut the door. And it says, to him the porter openeth. Isn't that a strange thing, strange name? You know what a porter does? He controls a door. Or a portal, which is a very big door. That's what it says. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. So not only can he bring them in, he can lead them out through the same door, through the same portal, okay, that the porter controls. Now go to Romans 10. Maybe we should take the Bible just a little bit more literal than what we do instead of just kind of making it poetic. Maybe it's telling us stuff, man, that, 50 to 100 years, no, how about several thousand years ahead of man. Isn't this the strangest passage? In Romans 10, verse 6, but the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise, say not in thine heart, who shall ascend into heaven? That is to bring Christ down from above. Or who shall descend into the deep? That is to bring up Christ again from the dead. Isn't that kind of strange? Like somebody's trying to reach up into heaven and bring somebody down. I think that's what they're trying to do. I think that's what this technology is all about. It's opening up a portal. And it may be that the Antichrist doesn't come down until man opens a portal for him to come down. Wouldn't that be something? We invite him down to this earth. He just doesn't show up unannounced, uninvited. We provide the portal. And that's he ascends. That's, by the way, that's from Psalms, which is another good passage. Now, like I said, I'm just giving you some fun stuff this morning to think about. Psalms 22, 1-3, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart. See, they never do make it up to the third heaven, but they're able to open a portal to that second one, and something comes down. That's the thought here. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, he mentions that they descend. One's up, brings something down from above, one's below. Sure enough, in the book of Revelation, what have you got? You got something coming from below. I'll read it to you. Beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, coming up, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. So maybe we're trying to provide a portal for something to come down, and a portal for something to come up. It's interesting. There's been programs that talk about these pits. In fact, there are supposed to be a couple of these pits around the United States, or one out west, I believe, that they think they're bottomless or there's something to it. It has strange magnetic occurrences and all that kind of thing. I don't know. I haven't been there. There's a show that showed up called Open Range. What was the name of that? Outer Range. Where this guy's got this hole on his property, man, and I mean, it literally goes through time, and I mean, it's interesting. But what I'm saying is, it seems like Hollywood's always telling us what's coming. And sure enough, I mean, even The Simpsons is a prophetic show. I don't watch it, but they show some of the prophetic things on it. I think whatever man puts his mind to do, he can do. Now, there's some things that he cannot do. By the way, Revelation 12:12, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, it says, for the devil is come down. The devil has come down. So, man cannot find out God. He can't. But he can sure find the devil. Oh, yeah. I'll give you two verses that I've used that Job 11:7 says, canst thou by searching find out God? Canst thou find out the Almighty unto perfection? Not without this book. If you're going to find God out to perfection, it's going to be through a revelation of himself that he gives you. They can search the heavens, they can search the deeps. They're not going to find out God. They may find something else. They're not going to find out God. And then look at Ecclesiastes, 2 verses there. And I think we looked at these before. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11 says, I'm going to take about 2 weeks on this. There's a lot. He that hath made everything beautiful in his time, also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to the end. Never find the source, ever. That's what science can't do. They can tell you a lot of things, and they put their mind to it. They can do just about anything. I mean, I remember when the microwave oven came out, and we were fascinated that this thing could heat up something, and there was no heat from the, Of course, we stared at it, probably why we have cataracts today. But it says, no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Look at chapter 8, verse 17. It says, then I beheld all the work of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun, because though a man labor to seek it out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, further, though a wise man think to know it, yet shall he not be able to find it. God has put something in place to where if you want to find him, you'll find him by faith, or you won't find him. Now, once you accept, because of all the evidence that you have that there is a God, and you accept the God of this book, then all of a sudden you're flooded with revelation of him. You see him in everything. You see him in science, engineering, any kind of technology. You see God everywhere. Like I said, you can find evidence of God on the periodic chart of elements. It's there. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to quit early, and I think I might go ahead and stop right here. Then we're going to start looking at places in the Bible where it looks like a teleportation takes place, a transporting, something like that. They're all over. I couldn't believe how many there were, man. I'm like, I keep finding them. And we say they're supernatural, yes, but it may be that man has figured out that the fabric of time can be opened up. I mean, we found out that we could split an atom, right? We found out that we could harness a power that nobody knew existed 200 years ago. So, and I think there's something to do with those angels, those fallen angels, and that alien thing going on, which I think is just perfectly connected, of possibly supplying, and especially the United States, with the technology for some of this stealth, or these supposed downed aircraft that they found, or alien craft that they found, that they were able to reverse engineer. If you kind of delve into some of this technology, start looking some of this stuff up, it's mind-bending. I don't know how guys can be that smart. The math, the physics, everything involved is just over the top. I mean, I'm trying to get a general license in ham radio, man, and it's bending my brain backwards. I'm just going to have to memorize the answers because I can't grasp it. And there are guys that's child's play to them. There are people smart. They're stupid, they're smart. I fall in stupid category, but there's a lot of smart people. But you could be smart and stupid at the same time if you go to hell. And you can be stupid and very smart if you go to heaven. I tend to put myself in that category. But what they're able to do, what they're able to figure out is astounding. And it may be that our government is hiding. It may be hidden from most of our government. I'm talking about your representatives, your senators. I am sure that the VP doesn't know anything. Of course, our VP doesn't know anything anyway. I will say this, though, about, I heard when Donald Trump was president, I heard him say something one time, and it made me think back to this. When he's talking about America's power, he says, you wouldn't believe what we could do. And I thought, well, we already know about nuclear bombs. What you talking about? I mean, we already know that, the warheads, the yield, we understand the different types of warheads. We understand, that you got submarines and you got ICBMs and you got land-based, you got truck, you can travel around with a truck. I mean, we understand pretty much how the assault would happen and how it would take place and who would be blown up and how big the So what's he talking about? I think he's talking about some things that they had to clue him in on, being president, of some technology that is just maybe 100 years away in the future. Because, what the Lord did say, he said, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded, and the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. And I think they somehow have stumbled on or been put on to this technology. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch a video. We're not going to record the video. Okay? We're going to stop right now. You can go online.